Joining me in the room podcast to talk about his huge title fight happening at Combat FC 5 on Friday, September 15th is the Gorilla, Pilla, Jake Pilla. What's up, my man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Congratulations on a huge matchup, a great treat for New England, and a huge opportunity for you to blast off, man. How you feeling about that opportunity?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited. It's definitely a step in the direction that I need to be in and want to be in, and I feel beyond ready for. So, to me, man, this has like always been kind of the plan. Just keep building up. And I mean, you've seen over my career, I've definitely had a lot of fights that didn't go all the way to the finish line. And so losing so many opponents, at some point somebody was going to have to take that name that made sense, and here we are. So the fact that it's for a title, the fact that this is the most active I've been in a long time. I think the stars are kind of aligning right now. I think, everything's kind of falling right where it should be. My training's right where it is. I got a performance coach, a nutritionist. I don't know, what was in the air, but over the last year or so, man, like everything in the fight world for me has really fallen into place. And, I really fell in love with the process. I mean, I love it anyways. I've been coaching and doing everything I'm doing, but I ran the school for a little while, and I wasn't able to live the fighter life like I kind of always have. And I'm back to it, and I have been for a while, so it feels good, man. I'm pumped. I feel like I'm on a roll. I feel like every time I'm in there, I'm getting better and better, and so I'm excited to get in with somebody who I know is going to try to bring me a fight.
Excellent, my man. Dude, this is your fourth card in a row for Combat FC. You're gonna be fighting on every one of their cards, except for the first one they have, man. What is the attraction? They just keep giving you, great matchups. Time and date are working out for you. What intrigues you about the Combat FC promotion?
So, I mean, obviously the dates kind of lined up for me the way I wanted them to. The June 16th card, that was kind of the only card I pushed kind of the timeline I wanted. I'll be honest, man, Joe Cab and Rick Caldwell at Combat FC, they're fucking awesome, dude. And I've been in the game a long time. Obviously, I've traveled around with Dooms, and I've coached guys, and I've been in corners, and I've seen every promotion, and I've seen everybody who runs every promotion, And I have a lot of people that, they do a great job. Listen, I'm not trying to shit talk anybody or, hey, I love Cal, I love his promotion. I love Mike. I like the guys at Cage Titans, there's some awesome stuff going around. Joe and Rick are just really good to me. They're super honest. They're super upfront. It's like very, very easy communication. I have no questions or there's nothing ever sketchy. Like what they say, they mean, and that's just set in law. And so I like that, man. And they seem to care about you as a person more so just than a fighter and a number. And so I like that. I always want to work with the people that want to, work with me for who I am, not just what I can bring in. And I feel like they do that for both,
Excellent, my man. Well, this is the big one. Combat FC 5, man, that Bantamweight title. When the name popped up with you with John Douma and, I don't know how it goes about. It's just names in the hat, weight classes, and you look it over. But was there a title next to it when John that matchup was, or when you said yes to that matchup, that's when the title came about?
So there was talks of it was going to be an interim title fight because at that point Greg Campos hadn't fought yet, right? He didn't get that contract on the Contender Series. So we had already always planned to fight for the interim belt, and then obviously now that he's gone, now it's just the vacant belt. So when they sent me the matchup, there was probably 3-4 names. I just kind of floated them all to the coaches, and I said, hey, give me your breakdowns. What stylistically makes sense? What do we need to do right now for my career? Where do I need to put myself? At the end of the day, I believe in my coaches, and whatever they say is law. And they've gotten me this far, and they love and care about me. And I know that my interest is always at the forefront for them, and so I let them decide. And they thought this was a good matchup. Rick definitely loved it. I know the New England fans are gonna love it because him and I are both, so some class acts. Yes. We get in there, we rumble. And so I'm excited, man. I think this is going to be an awesome one. He's one of the few guys in the area that I haven't trained with and that I'm not friends with. And so that's definitely nice because, I have a lot of guys that they're locals, but I've trained with them. I've trained years with them. I don't like that. I don't like fighting the guys I know. So it is kind of nice. He's local, but not local enough that we bump paths. And everything I've heard has been so complimentary of him. I got nothing bad to say. It's the fight game. I'm excited to go in there, have some fun. Get pushed, and take it from there.
Yeah, well, I talked to John last week, and the same thing out of him. There's no animosity or anything here. You guys never trained together. This is just a great matchup. Names came across, and sometimes these fights need to happen in New England. And man, as a fan, as media, I'm pumped and happy for you. You and John are both friends of mine. I've been following your careers since you were amateurs, and it sucks for me to who do I, root for? Stay down the middle. But, it's going to be a huge night for New England and for Combat FC. As far as the matchup, Jake, you said what makes sense stylistically and stuff like that. What intrigues you the most about John and the matchup? And what is it about the matchup that you think you have the edge in there against him?
I think a big part of my success is that, this is a game of reading patterns and kind of learning about fighters. What does he really have as far as my patterns? What is he, and I say this very honestly, if I was going to coach against me, I say, watch for the low kick and watch for me to rush in and put you to the fence and grind you out and take you down and sub you. There's not a lot of pieces to my game that you can account for and know for or train for. I am, as of right now, I'm kind of a question mark in the game as far as I'm concerned. My last 4-round fights were as an AMI probably 8 years ago, and the fighter I am now, the shape I'm in now, I would have killed me back then. What a difference. And so for me, I think that my style, and the more that people get to see my style, it's very tricky, man. It's not the thing that you see all the time. It's not the reads that you get all the time in the gym. I don't move the same way. I don't act the same way. My jiu-jitsu doesn't flow the same way. I've tried to prove it with a cartwheel kick and some cool stuff in there just to, sweeten the pot, but I just don't think he's ready for the tools I have in my tool belt. And I think he's a great fighter, and I think we're going to go out there and rumble. I just think, this is my night, and that's kind of where it lies.
Well, as far as training camp, this is your first title fight as a pro. Your last fight was 17 seconds. All the ones before that as a pro, first round subs, all subs in your wins here. As far as preparing for a 5-round fight here in a title fight, what's different in the training camp, if anything, as far as getting ready for it?
I dialed it all in, and I did it all. What's nice though is I didn't do it with the knowledge of the title fight or the knowledge of the opponent or anything like that. Coming out of that last fight, I felt really good. The fight was super short. I just felt like I was firing really well, and things that I had implemented in my camp were working really well. My nutrition was different. My weight was different. I was feeling different. I brought in a performance coach, which has been a huge addition. He everything I'm doing, he's tracking my runs, my lifts, my weight, and so it's one of those things where I believe that these people that I bring in have more knowledge than me, and it's working, and so it's it's hard to invalidate what they're doing when they're oh, do it this way, and I'm getting way better results. And I feel like I was ready for this for a while. I feel like in June I was pretty close to being ready for this and for that title fight. And not that I wasn't ready, but I took that June fight. I didn't think I was fighting. I had a couple nagging injuries, and then they gave me a guy on 12 days. I was at a jiu-jitsu camp, and Rick was what about him? And I was dude, I don't know. Sure, let's just I got to deal with this when I get home now.
Yeah.
I'm going to just ignore it until I get back. But this, man, I took probably 2 weeks. I just rested after the last fight. I hit the cryo hard. I've been hitting the ice baths every week. I'm really on top of the recovery. And all of a sudden I started feeling good. My body was feeling good. I pretty much went into re-went into camp July. And so for me, I've really kind of smoothed out, and I don't know, man. I feel like it's the perfect timing for a 5-round fight. Do I know if it's going to go there? I think we're going to rumble. But cardio-wise, I feel better than I ever have. I'm hitting 5.5s or shark bait rounds and getting up and doing 5.5s and mitts. I'm firing on a level I've never fired at. I'm controlling a lot of my pace and my comfort and the spike in anxiety and adrenaline. A lot of those little things that I think I may have shorted myself with some of these quick victories. I'm really dialing into in the gym. And so I feel like like not want to say a whole different fighter because people really haven't seen what I have, but I'm excited to showcase, exactly kind of what I have and where I really stand in this division.
Well, leading up to this fight, as you talked about in the past, fights fall through for you, Jake. I mean, short notice opponents all over the place for you through your whole career. How settling and how better is it in your mind to know, John Douma is going to show up. This ain't a guy that's, going to pull out a fight. You have an opponent locked in, a great opponent that you could just solely get ready for and not have to worry about too much going on the outside. Is this guy going to show up? Does that help you out and just ease your mind in this training camp and leading up to this fight?
Yeah, I mean, to some level it does. Again, like this is the fight game, and so I could make a million excuses for everybody who's ever pulled out. But I've pulled out of probably 2 fights with injuries. You know what I mean? And it's not, I don't say it's not my fault, but that's kind of the game, And so for me, with all the times that I've kind of been shorted or it didn't run, like I'll see you at weigh-ins and then we're locked, But like until then, man, it's on the fly. I really just kind of buckle down. It helps having a name. It helps having something in the sights. But they could put any name in the sights and I'm going to move the way I'm moving. It's kind of one of those things where as long as there's a reason for me, or not even a reason, but a reason to up the camp, I can do that. I can very comfortably, but I don't like to put my body through like that kind of the peak of camp without having something, to work for, because then I'm going to have to bring my body back down to rebuild a little bit, so I'd rather just kind of play the game better and take care of my body a little bit wiser. So it helped, but again, it didn't really make much of a difference. You could have put any name in front of me, and I'm gonna do what I got to do.
Excellent. Well, a couple more questions, my man. I know you're getting runs outside right now. Whatever. It's beautiful. Well, it's hot, but it's nice, isn't it? It's fucking great for training.
It's beautiful outside right now.
Well, Jake, you talked about training and getting dialed in. Who are you getting most of your rounds with? Same old folks, same old couple of gyms you've been traveling to. But, you mentioned nutritionists and stuff, strength and conditioning. But as far as any new training partners, anything like that going on? Or is it the same guys rolling with day in and day out?
Yeah, man, I ride with my team, and that's kind of how I leave it. I'm still training with Brian Caldwell. He's still my black belt, my jiu-jitsu coach. He's on his way in tonight to the gym. I'll probably see him when I walk back around front. I'm getting a ton of work in with Coach Sean Graham at FAF. He's taking a big role in a lot of the stuff that I'm working on and doing, and definitely he has put so many puzzle pieces together for me on a coaching side, on a fighter side. Like he's probably been like the biggest addition that I could say. He's just tenfold everything that I was doing. And so, like, now I'm just a whole different athlete. I'm a whole different striker. I'm a whole different fighter. I'm down there getting guys, working with guys like Sean Schubert, some crazy good Muay Thai guys, and getting beat up and tossed around and elbowed all day. And I love it, man. It's making me better. It's making me fall in love with the game again. And I'm learning so much. I'm still up at Burgess with Nate Lamont. I'm still getting working with Dooms, Still the same guys, CPK is my new performance coach, Chris. He's awesome. He's now, addition to my room at Gorilla Fitness. So, and then my nutritionist is Brennan Murat,
Oh, my man.
Yeah. Shout out to the Carrot Merritt, as we like to call him. No, but he owns Balance, man, and I love it up there. The food's great. They take care of me, it's nice because obviously me and him have been friends since before his career even started. And so, we'll always be friends. But even as a fighter, as an athlete, I know he knows what he's doing. He knows what I'm going through. He can really help dial in and set me up the right way. And so for me, it's easy. It makes it so much easier.
Well,
I don't have to lie to him when I tell him my weight,
Well, as far as the weight, Jake, you've had catch weights because of late notice and stuff like that. This is a huge title. It's at 135. That's where you want to be. How happy are you to be able to get to that weight, to your ideal weight, and to finally be able to fight at 135, that ideal weight where you're going to be, in the bigger promotions fighting at?
It feels good, dude. It feels real good. The last, I'd say 3-4 weight cuts have been the easiest of my entire career. Even the ones at 140, I think it was my last weight cut. I didn't even hit the sauna. And so for me, it's like if I'm hitting 140 and I'm running the day of weigh-ins because I have the energy and I don't want to sit in the sauna. It's like I'm doing something right. And so I do think that I am a very, very big 135er. I do think that I'm a lot larger than people realize until we get in there and we start locking up. I think my walk around weight is a little bit higher than people would expect. In shape, I'm pushing some good 4 or 5 mile runs, and I'm still a thick boy. But as of right now, man, I'm lean and mean. The weight has been coming off like crazy. I pushed. I wouldn't even. I'm less than 10 right now, and I put a full gallon in me already today. I'm firing. I don't feel hungry. I'm not agitated yet. It'll come, but not yet. So.
Well, let's couple more questions there.
Sure.
We're less than 2 weeks away from this huge fight. What's left to do at this point before you start, shedding the extra pounds that you have to next week? Like, what's left in training camp to go over or whatever before the 15th comes?
At this point, man, it's just making sure I'm working the game plan. I'm listening to my coaches. It's all about the weight now. I just got to stay crisp, stay ferocious in these moments. Really just dial in. I just got to be as sharp as I can. And so all the hard work's done. We're not sparring. We're not. There's no real live contact. It's super light. It's all high level guys. To limit the risk of incidents. The hard work's pretty much over. A couple sessions, some good runs. Get the sweat out. And just kind of, the first fight for me, I always tell people, is the weight cut. I think showing up to weigh-ins on weight, feeling good, is your first fight. If I get through that, then the fight's easy. I've done the hard part. My body's, thriving at that point. And so if I can get there and it's a pretty easy walk, or it's a very sustainable walk, then that's making all the difference right now. So I'm just going to keep dialing in, man. Stay nice and clean, nice and smooth, and try to have as much fun as I can over the next couple of days.
Well, my man, again, congratulations on that great matchup, fighting for that title. We know, people are looking at that title and looking at Combat FC because, fighters just made it. So, you could be that next guy, man. With that said, my man, what do we expect to see from Jake the Gorilla Pilla on September 15th fighting for that Combat FC Bantamweight title?
Absolute fireworks, dude. Hey, nothing's changed, man. I'm coming with the same crowd and the same energy, and I'm going to light that place up. And so, hey, if you're going to be there, you're in for a treat. You got 2 of the local gangsters going at it, and I can't wait. So it's going to be a fun night, man. We're going to tear that place down.
Excellent, my man. Well, I can't wait. It's my birthday, Jack. I keep telling all the people that I interview that it'll be my birthday, just so I can maybe get a drink out of you guys afterwards or something like that.
Yeah, but I'll buy you one.
I know you will. And you were giving shirts away at the last show. I was like, hey, go grab yourself a shirt. No one does that.
Yeah, I got to take care of you. You know that.
I appreciate it, my man. And like I said, I will be there on the 15th. I'll be enjoying the show, biting my nails through the whole thing. Man, the anticipation is killing me, as it is for the rest of New England fans and just fighters also, man, loving this fight. So with that said, Jake, shout outs, social media, sponsors, anything you want to say before I let you go? Less than 2 weeks, my man.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Right.
I'm going to shout out Combat FC, Joe and Rick over there. I'm going to shout out FAF Gym down in Holbrook. I'm going to shout out Brian Caldwell and Caldwell BJJ. I got to shout out Nate and Burgess MMA, and I got to shout out my home at Gorilla Fitness, all my training partners, all my fighters in the room, all the people that have shown up tenfold for this fight camp and have been doing runs with me and calling me first thing in the morning. Where's your weight? What do you need today? Coach, I got you. If I can't do this, I'll hang out. I'll run the clock. I truly, man, the amount of team and camaraderie I have gained at my own school. We're such a team. We're such a family in there. I got to shout them out, man. It's the best room I could be in. I love going in there every day. I got 8 coaches. I'm in there as their training partner, as their coach, as their friend. It all depends on the day. But we're all in there. We're grinding. We're having fun. And we're going to make some waves this year,
Excellent, my man. Any social media besides your Facebook and your Instagram, which I have here?
No, that's good for now, unless you want to follow the gym page. It's Gorilla Crew Fitness.
Excellent, my man. Well, my man, we'll be watching you. Can't wait for this fight. See you in action and to see what's next for you, bro. that belt gets wrapped around your waist, you could be the next one on their way to fight in front of Dana or for Dana. But good for you, my man. Congratulations, and thanks so much for the
Appreciate
time,
it.
bro. Always a pleasure catching up with you, man. And
Oh,
I'll see you on the 15th.
of course, you know I love hanging out with you.
All right, my man. You have a good one. We'll see you real soon.
You too, brother.